Monday mornings, don't you just love them? Come in this morning, refrigerator on the compressor has broke again. So this is quite a common issue because the refrigerator unit for the compressor, which dries the air and gets rid of all the moisture in the oil, it's got all the filters on everything. Because that's sat in the workshop outside the paint booth, it does gather some dust. So when you blow it out, every now and again, when you have a really busy, dusty day and you're doing a big job in the workshop, it'll fill up the actual filter on the side of the refrigerator unit so it can't breathe properly. And the motor's been straining, so now it's causing like a short in the little fan that cools the refrigerator unit down. So because of that, it's tripping all the sockets off, so I have no sockets, so it's double whammy this morning. As much as we try and get going and we have a plan organised, I've got two lads hand flatting stuff outside with cold water because we can't get any hot water. And now I'm going to load up this refrigerated unit and take it round to one of the guys that fixes all our compressor stuff, and hopefully he can sort it today or put a new fan on it, or at least sell me a new fan so that we can fit it. But I think that's what it is. I think it's just shorting through the cooling fan. It's been making a funny noise for a bit now, and I've just kept you give it a bit of a Fonzie on the top of it, and it's all right. But I have been kind of overlooking this issue for a while, and come in this morning, and it's bit me. So all stopped for a couple of hours. No compressed air, and we can't switch the electric on because of the wiring and the socket, and it's all plugged in. So I'm gonna have to dismantle that, take it out, then stick the power back on, run the rest of the workshop just on the sockets and with the power tools, and just have no compressed air, which you can imagine in the body shop's a nightmare. You lose your air, that's it, everything stops. So you've got a full team down unless you've got some handballing stuff or hand flatting, hand prep, or masking to do. So pretty important we get this fixed today. And I'm at a funeral on Friday, so it's a short week. So 3 short weeks in a row, and just 3 separate issues over every single week. But you've just got to overcome it. You've just got to. You can't bury your head in it and just go, you've just got to deal with the problem and get over it. Put the hours in and make sure that you're back on track for the next day. And there's another day tomorrow, so we'll make up for it somewhere. Also built like a mezzanine above the paint room now. New roof with 8x4 joists. It's like a stock room above here. Parts storage area up the top. Set of stairs in here. We need a handrail on this now, and then we'll put our data sheets back on everywhere and rebuild all of these walls. Put 2 cabinets in here, so the lads will paint these. We'll get the gun cleaner back up and running again. Tidy all these little bits of. We'll basically come in the paint room, mixing table, keep a bit of paint down here, a bit of stock, all the hardeners and paint strainers and everything else, and then now we'll come through this door into the booth. This gets locked at night. I'm going to run some new lines through there, and we didn't have this doorway before. We were literally going in from the other side, so we swapped this door. This particular panel was on the other side of the building, and we swapped it and gained another. So we've extended this paint booth by 8 foot, so we can actually park 4 decent sized vehicles in there overnight, sort of Fiesta or Focus sort of size. But you can physically work around 2 large vehicles. At the moment, we've got a couple of camper vans in, and we can work around both of them easily in the booth. So, if you've got 2 similar colours, we can just prep 2 jobs up and paint them in the same sitting. So we just studied this out with some of the freebie 2 that we had knocking around, and we convert this into like a little bit of a stock room for sandpaper and tapes and papers and generally just bits of stuff we've got lying about. Converted it to an LED light as well. So this needs a bit of therapy in here, but get some flooring down. We've got some nice checkered vinyl to go down in here. so it should look quite smart. It's all done, but I'll show you that later in the week. And them lads are finished. We've got a work experience lad in this week as well, so it's timed it perfectly. So we can get everything boxed off. So what I'll just show you here is, in yesterday's video I told you we had a little bit of an issue with the refrigerator unit. Just turn that music off. Refrigerator unit go a bit knackered, which is this here. Now this dries the air and makes sure that everything's cool. It's got a little indicator on there that says everything's green, it's all alright. But yesterday it was on red, and then we'd had a look at it, it was actually getting a bit hot. And it was just the cooling fan on the back of the refrigerated unit there. But this, the air comes out of the compressor, goes into the filter, that'll separate it, and then it goes into this unit, it'll refrigerate it, make sure it's nice and cool, and they come back out again into the workshop. So once these guys have finished doing the new isolator and putting the new feed in, this extra bit that we've put on should give us a capacity then. This is a plus air screw compressor, a fantastic compressor. Take the filter out once a week, give it a right good blowout, clean, and then we should have this up and running. It's an old unit, but it actually all works bang on, and it's fairly simple as well to use. But we just needed an extra cable running in for the fan because we converted it from gas to electric. So yeah, I'll show you that when that's up and running. But it's a Termo Mechanica, Italian company, so it's a designer paint booth, if you will, really, because it's made in Milan, Italy. But it's about 20-year-old. But it does the job perfectly. But these big 3 doors all open up really wide, and it's a commercial booth this, so it was made for painting truck bodies or truck cabs, and what else was in there? Like transit vans, any commercials like your sprinters we can get in there. So it's 8 meters long, 6 meters wide, and we've added an extra 2 meters nearly. So yeah, it's just increased the capacity by double. So the hope here is that we can get 3 cycles per day, 2 vehicles or 1 vehicle and a load of panels, and it'll just increase our throughput by anywhere between 30 and 40%, I think. And we'll just see how we get on. But this whole area at the back. Alright, just like that. That's Wednesday out of the way. We've managed to get all the bottom end finished off, where the toilet area is, get the new macerator plumbed in. We seem to have fixed the problem with the refrigerated unit on the compressor. That's run perfectly all day today. The rain's coming today, so we're not being able to do much in and out work really. What's been in the workshop is what we've been working on. I'll get some footage of that in the morning, just update you on where we're at with one of the big projects, which is due to go on Saturday. And hopefully electricians will be back, and they will. I have just instantly got a suntan there. That's the car in front of me with the brake lights on. Yeah, so I've had my work experience lad on with prepping some Range Rover parts, which are almost ready for paint. There'll be some tiny repairs to do on them tomorrow, and I'll send them through to paint maybe last thing tomorrow. See how I get on with camp van. I've got to get out first, and then I'll see if there's an hour or 2 tomorrow night just to stay late and get all the primer and paint on the Range Rover bits. That's where we're at. So Thursday tomorrow. I'm not in Friday because of the funerals. See how we go with that. Yeah. Saturday. We have been working on this vehicle for quite some time, and it's got to the point now where we really need to be finishing a few little bits off with this. It's been sat around, we've had to give it another polish just because of the dust that's been sitting on it. It's had a full respray, and this has gone from a metallic blue. I'll try and dig some pictures out. This is the one that was in the booth a few months back having some bits of blow-ins done on it, little bits of paintwork, things finished off. But the majority of it was all done and dusted. We'd just kind of put it back together to do the MOT, just so that we could see what we needed to do, because I was trying to help the guy out to get it MOT'd. So literally the wheels went on it, went for MOT. The MOT inspector actually had a bit of an accident on the ramp, and yeah, we struggled to get it back for a week or two, just while we were trying to get in touch with his missus while he was in hospital. And anyway, we got it back, and obviously the timescale's been fairly extended with it. A little bit of a problem that you don't really know you're going to run into these issues. But anyway, we're almost there with it. While it's been sat for a few months, having a few little bits of things done to it and upgraded LED lights. The roof lining has sagged a little bit when the guys disturbed it, putting a new windscreen in, all new encapsulated rubbers on there. We'd painted all this behind, done all the gutters because it was all scabby and horrible. We'd swapped the old mirrors for the new ones that it supplied. This has had new front wings, new inner and outer front arches, inner and outer steps, inner step. There is some still pictures of this work, which will be in this, either this video or the previous. There might be in the previous one to this, but it's literally now just we've got a little trim to put on here. Glass is back in, and polish the roof. And that's it. A little bit of a clean, some LED lights that have been put in. We've just cleaned all the rust off the brake calipers. They've been sat for a bit, and there was a bit of muck in the bottom of in the arches, so before they get treated. So literally that's just the last thing to do now, a little bit of treating in there, and that's out of the way. And we've just got the inside edge of the side loading door to do. Now, this had carpet glued all the way around the outside of it. And the prep wasn't that great. You could see where someone hadn't even prepped it around the edge. It was all flaking off, so we've had a real good dig out on there. The bottom was all solid, but it was pitted. It was like rust that had grown on top of rust. It tends to do that. If the water's coming in from the outside and sitting on top, it'll grow on the outside rather than the inside. So all that's been cure rusted, rust treated, great stuff, like a rust converter. The outside's sorted, so that's all alright. The inside's all just prepped up, ready. So we'll be painting, priming that. It's like a surfacer, wet on wet surfacer. So we'll do that. And yeah, we've just got a couple of holes that were in the old bonnet, just to put in the new one, because there's a couple of, it must be off a slightly later model, the same shape on the outside, but the manufacturers tend to change a few little things. So we've got that to sort out. It's a couple of tiny little holes, and then wax oil that. The rest of the van has been wax oiled, so it's literally get this done, hang it back on the vehicle, polish the outside of this door. The rest of it is done. The guys really pestering for this now, because obviously it's coming to, we're just out of winter, so it'd be nice to get him back in it. And then he's got some trips planned with the family and whatnot, kids, and you know, I'm a family man, so I can relate to that. And he's anxious to get it back. He has been very patient, waited a while, but you know, a little bit of a push over the next few days, and that'll be sorted for him. We'll give him a ring and get him down to come and inspect it. But yeah, it's pretty mint, so there's not a lot left to do on that. Quick emergency trip over to Wigan to pick up a bike for my eldest son, who does a lot of work for me. Quite important that he's there when I need him and on time and reliable. And something's gone wrong with his bike over the last few weeks, a little intermittent electrical problem. It's only a little 125, but surprised how much disruption it causes when you've just got one team member that's not quite firing 100%. So found an exact same bike over in Wigan. Runs, starts, never had an issue. Just the guy's decked it and broke some of the lights off it and things like that. Doesn't want to put it back on the road. He's been a bit ill recently, so his plans have changed with it. So he's just put it up for spares. So been over there, picked it up, just on the way back to Blackpool now with it, and then got a spares department to go out. I think the CDI unit's got wet, and we're going to just start swapping parts out. just see what it is that's actually causing the problem. And this bike only had an engine rebuild, full engine rebuild, 60 miles ago, so it hasn't even been running. Guys showed me all the build receipts and everything, so yeah, it was just worth a little bit of a punt on, a couple £100. With that couple £100 spending that on just having a spare parts department, the full bike sat there, spare wheels, spare tyres, lights, handlebars, mirrors, stuff like that. Might just help him going forward, so he's got a spares department he can go at. But yeah, so it's a Sunday. It's the Sunday before the bank holiday Monday. It's, what time is it? It's 7 o'clock at night. But I don't want it disrupting. We've had 3 bank holiday weekends, so 4 short weeks, plus I've been away for a weekend, lost a Friday, lost a Monday last week, so it's been 4 short weeks on the bounce, and we're under a lot of pressure to get things rattled off and out the door this week. So whatever I can do to try and minimise that, for the sake of a couple of hours, just 45 minutes there, bit of loading and come back again. Might just save our bacon, so you've got to take your opportunities when they come. Try and keep things running as smooth as possible. So yeah, just get back to Blackpool. So in today we have got SL400. This is a mate of mine's mum's car. This beautiful car. Just getting ready for a few bits that need tidying up. It's in very good condition. However, there's just a few things that just need tidying up on it. We've sent the wheels away, so we've got it on the car trolleys, just so that we can move it round easy enough to do the bodywork. We're doing rear bumper, all 4-wheel refurbs, and the wheels are diamond cut with a silver finish in between all the spokes, and then we'll probably use a direct to metal lacquer over the top, which is special lacquer that we put on diamond cut wheels just to protect them. Nothing much on this side, couple of little touch ups, but rear bumpers, a little mark there just on the end. We'll be doing this mark here on the corner, and there are some marks on the top of this bumper where it was scuffed with the tailgate. It actually blew up on the motorway, and then the roof started operating, and the wind behind the tailgate lifted it backwards and it scuffed the top. It has had a previous repair here before, however, there is a scuff there that needs dealing with anyway, so we're going to take all of that nasty paint off there, do the repair. Small mark there, and one of the biggest problems we've got with this vehicle is the sill was caught. Maybe you can actually see that. Just a bit penned in here at the moment, but the end of the sill was caught. So we're going to heat that up with the infrareds, put some pressure on it, and then rapidly shrink it back down again with the airline, just to, once we've got the shape back into it, put a couple of staples in it just to hold the shape back in. And one more job. Well, actually, there's a couple of freebie jobs on this because, like I said, it's a mate of mine's mum's car, and just want to try and look after her a bit. We'll be polishing the whole car and ceramic waxing it, but these old Mercedes suffer with this tarnishing up, this black gloss trim up here, and these are quite expensive and they're quite hard to replace. So we're going to be sanding these back and re-gloss blacking those, both sides, so they're nice. And the front bumper, there was some scuffing along the front edge here, and some dents, but actually on closer inspection, once we got it up in the air, we noticed, don't know if you can see that, but the whole of the underneath of this bumper is scuffed and marked and split and come out of its fixing, so we're going to deal with that as well. But I'm going to get the wheels back, get it back on its feet, get it up in the air. Yeah, and that's it for that one. some stopper mixed up and I'll come back to you shortly. So we've got our stopper now. 2-part mix, so it's your filler, stopper, and then a bit of hardener to go with it. Got to be quick if you're putting this much hardener. It's a little bit too much hardener in there, but for speed purposes, we always put a little bit more in the trade, especially when used. I'd advise you to probably use half as that amount if you're doing this yourself. It's DIY or whatever, but it's a product that we rave about. I mean, we use a lot of U-Pol stuff, but this is a product called U-Pol Dolphin. For those of you that know me, you'll know I rave on about this stuff all the time, but it's really good. Yeah, so we'll get that mixed up. You just mix it up. Now there is quite a lot of resin in this filler, and on a galvanized panel or on aluminium or something like that, I would probably use the Dolphin board, which is a special board, an onion board, that just, it's a non-permeable paper, so it's got a nice finish to it and it holds the resin in, whereas we're mixing this on cardboard and it actually absorbs a little bit of the resin, which makes it a little bit better to work with, and it'll go off a little bit quicker as well. Otherwise it'll stay sticky for quite a bit. So you just want to mix those two up thoroughly. Get all the air bubbles out of it. Probably mixed up a little bit too much here, but most body lads will tell you usually have a little bit of wastage when you're mixing filler up. The trick is to have 2 or 3 jobs where you've got 2 or 3 filler repairs on the go, get them all ready and then whiz around them all. I mean, I'm just doing this one specifically for this repair. There's nothing else ready for a filler repair today, so yeah. Mix that up nicely so it's all the same colour, consistent throughout. And what you want to do is start with one edge, try and go right to your paint edge. You just want to work that round. You'd think I'd be a good plasterer, but I've tried it and I'm not. Right, so we've let that dry for about 15-20 minutes now, and that's ready for rubbing. I've cut the edge back with a blade just to put some profile in there, and now I'm just going to give it a quick rub on the top. We'll use the guide coat as a reference, 80s on a little rubber pad. And this is a little sponge block. These are great, these little sponge blocks, because you can just, they actually mould to the shape of the plastic. You still get quite a flat finish with them. So, yeah. And all you're really doing is lightly rubbing over that filler uniformly all the way over. Try and stay away from the edge of the repair as much as possible. And you can see there now, that filler, see where all the black guide coat has come off. And everywhere that's flat and white is level. And everywhere where there's still a bit of a divot or a low spot, you'll see it's still got black guide coat paint in it. And that's one of my customers just turned up outside. And you just have to break off and go and deal with that. Well, back to the Mercedes again, and I would have actually recorded a bit more of this, but the battery died. What I've actually done with this, and you'll see in the images in the video that I'll show you, just how bad this corner on this sill was on this Merc, but this was all bashed in. Luckily, she's managed to retain this, picked it up off the floor, picked all the broken clips up, so we've managed to get all this back solid now, heated this up with a heat gun, cooled it down the airline, shocked it back in position, so everything's lined up now. Let's put these stainless staples in. So these are stainless steel staples for welding plastic cracks up. and just sink them in with a, for want of a better term, it's just a soldering iron really, with 2 prongs on it. You put the pins in the end and then solder it up. But yeah, I'll perhaps show you that in another video, just on something else, plastic. There's a little bit to do on the front bumper, so I'll show it you with that. But that's basically what we've done. We just ground the high spots down. That one's buzzing up now, and a little bit of filler putting in it. It's all clipped in underneath, so that's ready for a repair. So that's the start of another busy week again. 3 jobs in today. We're going to start with, this is one of tomorrow's repairs, which is here. And we've already repaired this one today and put some primer on it, which is there, and on the sill, tiny little mark there. And the 3 series is just the rear bumper corner there, Portimao blue. We've actually had this car in before for something else, and this was just scuffed in a car park, so we're just going to deal with that tomorrow, hoping that we can pull a chip off for this so we don't have to get involved with blowing the rear quarter in, but we'll see how we go. We'll probably have to do a blend on that one. And then last but not least, we're just going to try and make this little bit of damage here, just can't really see it on camera, but the wing's actually dented in there. Just going to try and make it look a little bit better. So all 3 jobs in and out, 3 days. All small little blowing jobs. So yeah. In the main workshop, we've also got X5, which is almost ready for the new panels to go back on. I think I showed you a bit of this a couple of weeks ago, but this has been kind of 2 or 3 weeks in the making, because someone else had already repaired it and there was a few things that weren't right with it, and as we got into it, we just weren't happy with a few things, so we've had to wait for a few parts. And it's Imperial White, which is, you know, it's not a bad pearl white to do, but it's it just demands your full attention. Just got to try and blend everything out properly. We've got a Mark 7.5 on the Golf, Mark 7.5 Golf on the jig. That is straight, almost, just got a little bit to do on it. Towards the end of the week, and then the doorway ready to go tomorrow. Mercedes, and this is just ready for going in, having its final coat. I'm just waiting for one to finish first, and then we'll put that back in. Get that one finished off. Right, Friday morning. Hope you've all made it to Friday all right. It seems to go really fast here. Monday, you know, if you're running your own business, now perhaps if you have a job, it might be a bit different. You work for somebody, or you got one of those jobs that's maybe a bit repetitive or whatever, but the week kind of drags on. But when you're self-employed or you run your own business, it goes Monday to Friday in a snap. And yeah, you won. Number one, I mean, I always wonder how I've managed to get through everything. We don't manage to finish everything we want to achieve, but yeah, anyway, here we are. So we've got 2 jobs going out the door today. Recorded both of those. They're both needing a bit of paint work this morning. I'm just on the way to the paint shop to pick one of my orders up, just because I can't really wait for the delivery to get here, because I won't get it in time to get on the morning cycle with the paint move, and it'll mess the flow up for the day. And we've got, it's the bank holiday weekend coming up, so I'm trying to get rid of camper van, so they're back in it for that. So we're back on with that later on today. The TVR, the donor chassis, we've fabricated all the bits up on it. You'll see some of that in next week's video. The outriggers have been done. There was a couple of tiny bits on the outriggers for just spot welding, nothing nothing too major, just filling tiny little holes that are just starting now. A bit of pitting really more than anything in the tubular steel work. But if I'd have left it and sent it for powder coating, chances are it would have come back to bite me again. So we've dealt with it. That's going off for powder coating tomorrow. So Friday lunchtime, following up from what I was saying before in the van, this is just one of the jobs that we are finishing off today. Little BMW iX3. You'd have probably seen this in the previous video, or it might have been in this week's early on, I don't know, but this is the one that was damaged on the front corner here. It's all repaired now. We're actually just blowing this in the workshop just on the ramp, because we have to get all the way underneath it and make sure we got it right, and it's just not that easy to do in the paint booth. So yeah, that's that one. This is one we'll be finishing off this afternoon. Ballators have got it tomorrow to do their bits. But yeah, that'll be all back together this afternoon. I'll show you some more footage of that later on. Adam's just buzzing something through there. Maybe the bumpers for the camper that we're getting rid of at the end of the week. So we've got the booth doors open, just to allow the fan to extract the overspray out of the workshop, and it'll go through the filters at the back. So yeah, we'll do the odd little blowing in the workshop. We'll try and keep it to a minimum really. But yeah, I'll show you this when it's done. Adam's just washing this one now. This is the iX3 that was on the ramp. If you remember, this was having the front corner bumper blowing. We'll dry it off and video it again, I think. But yeah, real nice job. Colours all nice. Blends have gone in nice. Trim's painted and back on again. Yeah, beautiful job, ready to go out the door. Client's about half an hour away.